So let's continue with our lesson. Alright, so in this cell what we have done is we have declared two variables, num1, num2, and we have computed the addition, alright, and printed it out. Alright, but as we saw, okay, from the earlier examples in the flowchart and so on, in most cases, alright, we have to deal with user input. Alright, so we want the user to provide us with some input, and then we proceed on to analyze the data or perform some computation and so on. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a simple example, alright, where we want to take in a number, and just for simplicity's sake, maybe we print out the square of the number. Okay, we print out the square of the number. Okay, so let me add a new cell, and I'm going to so how do we capture the user input? So first we must know the variable name that you want to use. Okay, so I'm going to use a variable name called num or number. Okay, and I'm going to, how do I capture the input from the user? The keyword is input. Alright, and okay, so in this case I'm just going to do this where I'm saying input. So input keyword is will prompt the user to enter some information, and this is the sort of prompt that I'm giving the user. So enter a number. So if I want the user to enter a text, then I say enter a text or enter a string and so on. Alright, so if I just run this now, what will happen is, as you can see, I create now a text input block, okay, where I can enter a number. So if I say I key in 7, it will just print out the number that I entered. Okay, now instead of printing out the number that I've entered, what if I want to print out the square? Okay, so I say number times number, so that is the square, correct? The square of the number. Now if I run this, okay, if I key in the same number, or if I key in any other number, 5, okay, so now it gives me an error. Okay, now what is the error? Alright, so in all coding languages or development tools that we use, alright, when you have an error, it will give you some information on the type of error, alright, and from there you can have some idea how to fix it. Okay, so let's look at the information first. So it says can't multiply sequence by non-integer of type string. Now of course, I know it may sound a bit alien to you. Now what does this mean? Okay, it basically means that I'm trying to multiply, okay, a string with an integer, okay, or a string by itself, or something to do with the multiplication, okay, not conforming to the type that we are dealing with. Alright, now why is this so? Because, okay, why is this so is because when I use this keyword input, alright, I'm expecting the user, alright, I'm expecting the user, let me rephrase it, when I use this input keyword, the input that the user provides is captured as a string. Okay, it's captured as a string. Alright, so even though I enter number 5 and I can print out number 5, as far as the Python is concerned, it is dealing with strings. So 5 is still classified as a string or a character. It is not classified as a number. So I'm not able to perform any form of mathematical operations on this input. Okay, now how can I solve this? Okay, I can solve this by doing what we call typecasting. Typecasting means I make sure that I take the current data type and I convert it into the one that I want. So in this case, if I want it to be dealt with as an integer, as a number, so I can use int and put a whole bracket around it. Now when I do this, what happens is when I enter an input, alright, I will automatically typecast it to a number before storing it into the variable. Alright, then once it is classified as a number or the integer data type, then I can perform the mathematical operation. Alright, so let me run this now. If I key in 7, now it works. Correct? Why? Because of this typecasting, which makes sure that I have captured the user. Even though I initially capture it as a string, I convert it to an integer before I store it in my variable. Alright, so this is an important concept, so you understand that when I capture user input, I need to perform this typecasting before I can use it. Alright, so thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.